Hello, a very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News and to Monday night's calendar.
Hello, here's a look at tonight's main stories.
Life without mum. In an exclusive interview with ITV News, the daughter of murdered policewoman Sharon Beshenivsky recalls the fateful day which changed things forever.
There was a car that pulled up at the top of the drive and I actually thought that it was my mum coming home and unfortunately it was the police to tell my dad that she'd been killed.
I didn't mean to hurt him. The schoolboy accused of killing 15-year-old Alfie Lewis insists he'd swung a knife at the youngster to keep him away.
The defendant told Leeds Crown Court he was sorry for what had happened, but it had been self-defence. I'll have the latest from his murder trial shortly.
In sport, a city of mixed fortunes. Sheffield Wednesday take a big leap towards Championship survival. Meanwhile, arch-rivals United officially bow out of the Premier League.
And look who's walking. Kevin Sinfield lent a hand and 2 feet to some famous fundraisers as they marched into Leeds.
First tonight, the daughter of murdered Bradford policewoman Sharon Beshenivsky has spoken about enduring almost 20 years of loss, but says there's light at the end of the tunnel following the final conviction of the gang that killed her.
Speaking exclusively to ITV News, Lydia Beshenivsky described living through a dark tunnel, but that finally getting justice was helping her to heal.
Well, now she's 22 and she recalled that on the day Sharon died back in 2005, the family had been expecting her home for Lydia's 4th birthday celebrations. Helen Steele reports.
There was a car that pulled up at the top of the drive and I actually thought that it was my mum coming home and unfortunately it was the police to tell my dad that she'd been killed.
PC Sharon Beshenivsky never made it to her daughter Lydia's 4th birthday party. Shot on duty as she attended a robbery in Bradford, her death left a void in Lydia's life that stayed with her every day and every birthday since.
No memory to me is blank. I don't know what a mum is. Everyone has their mums to speak to every day. You've got a problem, you ring your mum. I would wish every day for my mother to be sat beside of me now.
6 members of the gang responsible were caught within a year. It took nearly 19 to convict ringleader Pirandita Khan of Sharon's murder. And as Lydia told ITV News presenter Mary Nightingale, that time took its toll.
I have been in the dark tunnel and had all them obstacles thrown at me and that many that I thought I can't do this another day, and I had no one around me to be like, come on, do this, do that. Anyway, I woke up one morning and I kicked myself so hard. I think my mum did it actually.
But with Dita Khan now due to be sentenced, Lydia has finally been able to move on.
I created my own life and came into racing, found a hobby and kept my mind active, and I think that's what you've got to do, but this is the only time that I've seen light at the end of the tunnel with Pirandita Khan being caught, because I know everyone's served the time.
Well, that was a really moving interview with someone that we don't often hear from. Helen Steele, joins us in the studio now. What else did Lydia say about the impact that that tragic event had on her?
Yes, it's a story that many people will know the facts about, but it's the feelings that really come across here. And it's clear that it really did have a profound effect on Lydia growing up. Now, the full interview is shown on ITV News next, and she talks about how she wants her mum to be remembered as a hero. But what puts her off becoming a police officer is that she thinks one day her own children might get the same news that she did.
Now, we know that, of course, Pirandita Khan, the final gang member, is to be sentenced soon. That's going to give Lydia some closure, she says. When can we expect that to happen?
Yes, Dita Khan was extradited a few years ago. He was convicted earlier this month and he's due to be sentenced on May the 10th. Now, that's something that Lydia says will not fix the hole in her heart, but should bring her some peace. OK,
Helen Steele, thank you very much indeed for that. And, of course, you can see that full interview, as Helen said, in the ITV Evening News at 6:30.
That's with Mary Nightingale. Next, a teenager who stabbed a boy to death in broad daylight outside a primary school in Leeds has told a court he didn't intend to kill his victim and that he's sorry it happened.
The 15-year-old, who can't be named because of his age, said he was acting in self-defence when he went out armed with a kitchen knife, believing Alfie Lewis, who was also 15, was going to kill him after an argument in the street a week earlier.
Sally Simpson has been at Leeds Crown Court and is live there for us this evening. Good evening, Sally. What did the boys say about what happened?
Well, the court's been hearing a detailed account of what happened that afternoon last November and the events leading up to it as the defence barrister Nicholas Lumley KC took the defendant through his evidence in chief. He recalled an incident the previous week when he said he was walking past Alfie Lewis's home carrying a bag of fireworks which he was intending to set off. Alfie ordered him to hand over the bag, and when the boy refused, he said Alfie lifted his top to reveal what he believed was a weapon. Alfie chased him some way down the street, he said, and told him, "Watch, when I get you, I'm going to kill you." Well, it was that threat to kill which motivated the boy to arm himself with a kitchen knife before he set off to school on the next day of term, November the 7th, fearful of coming into contact with Alfie Lewis, he said. "I was scared to leave the house, so I went into the kitchen and got a knife out of the drawer." Well, the boy admitted deliberately and unusually dressing in joggers underneath his school trousers, putting the knife down his waistband and leaving the house. When he came across Alfie in the street later that afternoon, he said he froze in fear, pulled out the knife and waved it towards Alfie, swinging it aimlessly into the air to scare him. "I didn't mean to hurt or injure him in any way," he said.
Sally, members of the jury were shown the knife used to kill Alfie, weren't they? What did the prosecution have to say about the weapon?
Yes, the knife was passed round the jurors encased in a plastic evidence tube. The boy claimed he'd chosen the knife because it was the bluntest one in the kitchen at the time and repeatedly denied he'd planned to use it. But in cross-examination, the prosecuting barrister Craig Hassel-Casey put it to the boy that he knowingly plunged the knife into Alfie's chest, causing a 14-centimetre wound through his heart. "I didn't realise that at the time," the boy said. He said Alfie flung himself backwards and started kicking out towards him, and it must have been then that Alfie sustained a second wound to his leg, the boy claimed. "When I realised he couldn't hurt me anymore, that's when I started running," he said, and the knife fell from my hand. Well, the boy's father is due to give evidence for the defence tomorrow. The boy denies murder and the trial continues.
Yes, a distressing story. Sally Simpson live at Leeds Crown Court. Thank you. You're watching Monday Night's Calendar. Still to come on the programme tonight.
Last throw of the dice. Despite a bruising defeat to QPR, Leeds' fight for promotion will go down to the nail-biting last day of the season.
And stroll on, the three dads walking, bringing their fundraising campaign to Leeds and getting, well, some support from a familiar face.
A Sheffield woman whose husband travelled to Dignitas in Switzerland to end his own life has backed new efforts to make assisted dying legal in the UK.
Jan Valence's husband made his final journey back in 2018, 20 years after he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Today, after more than 200,000 people signed an online petition, MPs met to debate the controversial issue. Jan believes that a change in law would save families like hers from distress and heartache. Our political correspondent Charanpreet Kara has more.
Mark Valence was a climber, inventor and entrepreneur until Parkinson's robbed him of his independence.
It was devastating, the difference between the life he'd lived and the prospects of his life was dreadful. For the last 6 months of his life, he was in a nursing home and unable to look after himself.
Unable to live how he wanted, Mark chose to die, travelling to Dignitas in Switzerland with his wife Jan. Afterwards, when she returned alone, she had to face the police.
I had 7 months of absolute hell. I'd freshly lost Mark. I'd freshly come back from seeing him die. Had to arrange his memorial event, which had been quite huge. And all the time that was hanging over me, wondering whether actually I might go to prison. It robbed me in some ways of perhaps a more normal grieving process.
Jan wants the law to change to stop other families from going through what she did, and to stop those who can't travel abroad from taking matters into their own hands.
It happens a lot. People either try and succeed or try and fail, and then it's awful for them, and it's awful for the people that are close to them.
2.5 times as many people are likely to take their own life with a terminal illness rather than face that pain and suffering. Some take it too early, and that was the case for my father. He had a terminal diagnosis of lung cancer. He'd seen at the age of 87 a lot of his friends die badly, and he chose a lonely decision to take his own life, which was a shock to us all, and also meant that he went before he needed to, because I think he acted whilst he still felt that he had capacity.
Paul Blomfield hopes his fellow MPs will take his father Harry's story into account, but others believe today's debate is missing the point.
There's been many debates around this, but we haven't had that debate yet about fixing the palliative care system. And we know that the hospice movement has a £100 million black hole in its budget. We know that, as I said, 1 in 4 people who would benefit from good quality palliative care aren't currently receiving it. And that's what we should be fixing. And this debate, unfortunately, is a bit of a distraction.
Protesters calling for a change in the law would disagree. Outside Parliament earlier, they were faced by a smaller number of counter-protesters, like those debating inside Parliament, divided over the choice to die.
Well, let's talk to Charanpreet now. And Charanpreet, how could that debate change things?
Well, Ian, the debate that's happening at the moment is primarily an opportunity for MPs like Paul Blomfield to give their opinion on this incredibly emotive issue. It's not a vote per se, but a vote could follow. It's unlikely that that will happen until after a general election, but the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, has signalled that he personally is in favour of changing the law and would hold space for this debate after the general election. Rishi Sunak hasn't given his personal opinion, but has said that he'd do as MPs wish. Now, in 2015, MPs voted against changing the law. The question now is whether the tide has turned.
OK, Charanpreet Kaur live at Westminster. Thank you.
Some more news now from around the region, and a man's appeared in court charged with murder after a woman's body was found in a river in North Yorkshire. 49-year-old Lisa Welford was pulled out of the River Derwent in Malton on Wednesday. Her family have described her as a wonderful mother who will be sadly missed. Vincent Morgan, who's 47 and knew Lisa, appeared before magistrates this morning. He's due in Leeds Crown Court tomorrow.
3 people were taken to hospital after a house fire caused by an e-bike battery in Sheffield. Several people managed to escape the house on Eccleshall Road before the flames took over and completely destroyed the inside. It started after an e-bike battery, which was on charge, overheated. Firefighters are warning people not to leave them charging unattended. Now, time for some sport, and Sheffield United's stay in the Premier League, well, has come to an end.
Xero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, Arif joins us in the studio now, and well, sad news, isn't it, really, because Sheffield United, they've definitely gone into the relegation zone.
Yeah, they have, and it comes as no real surprise, really, Lara. It's been a really poor season for Sheffield United, and their 5-1 defeat to Newcastle probably summed up their season.
Now, of course, Leeds, it's not all over yet. It's pretty close, but it's not over yet.
Yeah,
still a chance.
There is still a chance, and I'm sure a lot of Leeds fans thought that they'd blown their chance after losing so heavily to QPR on Friday night. But crucially for them, the promotion rivals Ipswich drew with Hull on Saturday, so it'll all go down to the final day of the season. Let's have a look at the table, and Leeds still occupy the final automatic spot, but Ipswich have played a game less, so they can still leapfrog the Whites even. So it might be slim, but there still is a chance for Leeds to be promoted on Saturday.
So there's an ever-changing picture at the top, isn't there? What about at the bottom?
Well, let's have a look at the table, Lara, and if we can see it here. that for Huddersfield, their race is probably, well, is most likely done and dusted. But for Sheffield Wednesday, crucially, who are above the line, they're 3 points clear. Their fate is in their hands going in to the final day. The Terriers drew with Birmingham, which means they're all but relegated. They'll need a win and a 15-goal swing on the final day to avoid the drop. Sheffield Wednesday, though, they need just a point to secure safety after their thumping win over West Brom.
I don't know if there is really a chance. It's not really realistic. We'll see if it's possible to score so many goals, then there is a chance to stay in the league.
One more, we need one more. We are still not safe. It was a great atmosphere today here, but we have to go one more, and it means, yeah, tomorrow recovery, a good week, and then we have to go to Sunderland to make the final step.
It was the final day of Leagues 1 and 2 at the weekend. Barnsley just held on to their playoff spot in League 1 after drawing with Northampton. Doncaster secured a top 6 finish in League 2 after drawing with Gillingham, and Bradford just missed out on a playoff place by a point despite thrashing Newport 4-1. And Barnsley will kick off the playoffs on Friday night.
Now, finally tonight, you'll have probably heard of the Three Dads Walking and the national campaign to raise funds and awareness for suicide prevention.
Well, today, their third epic walk down the eastern side of the UK reached Leeds, where they linked up with possibly the only fundraiser in the land who's as famous as them.
Yes, within the last hour, Leeds Rhinos legend Kevin Sinfield tagged along for a stroll, and our reporter Mel Barham pulled on her walking boots and joined them.
Well, it is day 13 of this epic challenge by Andy, Mike and Tim, better known as Three Dads Walking. Three dads who lost their daughters to suicide and have been walking to try and raise awareness of suicide prevention and raise money for the prevention charity Papyrus. Now, this 500-mile trek started in Scotland. You're on your way to Norwich, aren't you? You're walking down the eastern spine of the country and you're walking into Leeds today. How's it gone so far?
It's gone absolutely brilliantly. The support we've had has been off the scale, to be quite honest. You know, we've been joined every day by sadly other bereaved parents and people affected by suicide.
Well, this actually marks the halfway point for your challenge, and it is a very special day for you guys because not only is it halfway, but you've also been joined by someone who knows a thing or two about charity challenges, and that is Kevin Sinfield. Kevin, can we just bring you in briefly? Just tell us why you've decided to come and support the guys today.
Oh, well, I met the guys and we were just chatting about bits we've been doing, and I think it's incredible what they're doing. Those who've got kids know how important this is, so to be here today and support when I knew they were coming into Leeds, just felt needed to be here, and they promised they're going to come and run with us in December.
No, we haven't. So, you've heard that here first.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I just felt like it was, you know, I think it's important that we support each other, we help each other, and I think what these guys are doing is incredible, so it's great to be here.
But the key thing that we've been doing as well is engaging with government. If suicide is the biggest killer of our young people, why don't we do something about it? Why don't we give them the skills that they need to keep themselves safe? We have seen suicide prevention delivered in schools to 11, 12-year-olds, really safe, really age appropriate, and these young kids now have a chance that if they have that suicidal thought, like 1 in 5 of us will have, that they've got the possibility of navigating that and keeping themselves alive.
This was the last day of hills today, so we're kind of getting out into the flatlands next. So I should say it could get easier, but it might be flatter, but we're just going to do longer days, so we're going to be walking farther.
Brilliant. Well, good luck with your walk today and for the rest of the walk. And they're calling this the Walk of Hope, and that is certainly the message that they are spreading far and wide.
They're inspirational, aren't they, those three dads?
Absolutely. We wish them all the very best with that. That was Mel Barham reporting there, of course. More from us on ITVX, by the way. If you've missed the start of the programme, you can watch us again later at your leisure.
Yeah, well, here's hoping that the weather will be good for those three dads. Tori Lacey has the latest.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello there. So we are seeing much warmer weather at the moment compared to what we've had in recent weeks. The jet stream is one of the reasons why. It's undercutting the warmth sitting across central parts of Europe, and really it's all starting to suck that warm air our way. So hence those temperatures have been on the rise, and not before time. Now this was the weather situation today. A weather front coming up through the Irish Sea across the western side of Britain has started to throw quite a bit of cloud and some bits and pieces of rain, but it's breaking up all the while, so it isn't going to be that wet overnight tonight. There will be one or two heavier bursts here and there, and it's mainly going to be parts of North Yorkshire over the moors here that we start to see one or two heavier bursts. But the further south and east you are, it could well stay dry. Temperatures probably hovering around 8, 9, 10 Celsius. Sun up in the morning is at 5:31 and sunset is at 8:36 in the evening. Now, as the day gets going tomorrow, dare I say it, it could turn out to be really quite nice. Get some sunshine out there, fair weather cloud will build up through the day, and one or two showers could just appear towards the east coast later on in the afternoon. But in the best of the sunshine further west, yes, it'll be blustery, but the thermometers get up to 18 or 19 Celsius. Now, we are going to see a little fly in the ointment just brush up the east coast then during tomorrow night into Wednesday. This could bring even the odd thunderstorm or two, you never know. But the other change is that we're going to start to pull in a bit more of an easterly breeze, and that means that around the coast it's probably going to stay disappointingly cloudy, but inland not too bad.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
At last, some warm weather to look forward to tomorrow.
I'm almost excited.
Well, you should be excited.
It's great news, isn't it? Fantastic. That's all from us for now. The ITV News follows us, and I'll be back with our late news at 10:30. Have a good evening. Good night.
Bye-bye.